Key point 1. Reconnecting with the teacher of life. Have you ever had a real teacher? Mitch Albom, the protagonist of this touching story, was lucky enough to have Morrie, the mentor who changed his life forever. Morrie Schwartz, a sociology professor at Brandeis University, heard his death sentence in 1994. It was amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a brutal neurological illness without any known cure. The disease ruthlessly took him over, month by month, but he wasn't the type to give up. He knew for sure that he needed to make death his final project, which could engrave the pieces of his soul into others' hearts. Mitch Albom graduated from Brandeis University 16 years prior and lost himself in an infinite career race, trying to cope with his uncle's death of pancreatic cancer. He became a sports journalist who found elusive control in overworking. True wisdom often comes from the unluckiest of sources. On a Friday in March 1995, Mitch was casually watching TV when a familiar face appeared on the American news show Nightline. He found out that his beloved former professor, Morrie, had been diagnosed with ALS. Despite the grim prognosis, he had some inner glow, as if he knew everything about life and death and shared his wisdom with joy. Mitch's heart skipped a beat, and he rushed to Morrie's house. That's how their classes began once again. Prepare to go deep into the testament to the enduring power of human connection and discover the meaning of love, life, and legacy. Key point 2. Break the cycle of self-pity. Mitch and Morrie always met on Tuesdays, and the subject was the meaning of life. They conducted the lessons without books or grades at the professor's house, where they became family. On the first Tuesday, Morrie admitted that he couldn't walk anymore and missed dancing like crazy. However, he seemed so calm and content that Mitch felt strangely envious. Morrie suffered every day and became responsive to others even more than before. He was drawn to people and cried for them a lot, while Mitch never did. The student didn't open up during their first lesson and felt anxious because of the silence. Morrie wasn't bothered. Long ago, he was the same as his student. Being emotional is a strength. On the second Tuesday, Mitch came with bags full of food, which later became their small tradition. When he asked if Morrie sometimes felt miserable, the teacher said he did, but then switched the focus to all the beautiful things in the world, grateful and serene. That day, Mitch learned to lift Morrie from the wheelchair. Physically, it wasn't hard at all because his mentor was morbidly thin. Mentally, it was the painful realization of the transience of life and happiness. By the third Tuesday, the young man decided to record their sessions. He wanted to remember every conversation they shared, so he arrived with a Sony tape recorder. That gesture epitomized the ubiquitous attempts to encapsulate Morrie in a new form for his nearest and dearest. They both knew they didn't have much time left together. Morrie appeared on Nightline for the second time due to the overwhelmingly positive response to the first broadcast. As the crew, including the show's host Ted Koppel, entered the scene, they quickly became part of the teacher's extended family. During the interview, the killing power of disease became crystal clear. Morrie had trouble gesturing and speaking. However, he was ready for anything, even total silence, as he would find other ways to display love, holding hands, smiling, or simply observing. Did you know? In the USA, ALS is often referred to as Lou Gehrig's disease, named after the famous baseball player who was diagnosed with the condition in 1939. Key point 3. Childhood experiences shape adult beliefs. Morrie lost his mother when he was 8 years old. He noticed her empty eyes and pale skin, but what could a child do? His father, Charlie, never talked about his wife after her passing. He was a poor immigrant, incapable of expressing emotions and caring for his children, Morrie and David. As a child, Morrie blamed himself after David contracted polio. He knew nothing about medicine and sought solace in prayer and studying. But their stepmother, Eva, saw a light at the end of the tunnel, a proper education. She poured blood, sweat, and tears into bringing up her stepchildren. And partly thanks to her education, little Morrie decided to be a teacher. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. Henry Adams. On the fourth Tuesday, Morrie shared his most prominent childhood memories and fears, and two men exchanged views on prejudices about death. They began with the idea that everyone knows about their mortality, but few truly internalize it. Morrie suggested preparing for death to come at any moment. He believed this mindset allows individuals to engage more fully in life, as if tomorrow never comes. Morrie's explanation that facing death strips away the non-essential aspects of life encouraged Mitch to focus on his core values and deeper connections. Material things cannot replace love and tenderness. The teacher marveled at nature's changes through the window, rediscovering the world from there as he could no longer walk outside. Now, two men stood side by side, captivated by the sight of the wind blowing. Morrie received numerous letters due to his nightline appearances and diligently dictated responses despite his health challenges. The disease was eating him alive, but Morrie still felt like the luckiest man on earth because people from around the world sent him letters filled with their life experiences. He remembered every story he read and endeavored to give others the attention he didn't receive from his father. Key point 4. Love always matters. On the fifth Tuesday, they talked about family, the only secure foundation upon which people can exist in the modern world. Morrie stressed the supreme importance of love, stating that his friends would come and go, but his family never left him behind. After his mother's passing, Morrie recalled how he yearned for the spiritual security that couldn't be replaced by wealth, fame, or work. When discussing parenthood, he refrained from dictating choices, but instead conveyed that there's no experience akin to parenthood, even though it's an immense responsibility. Unconditional love is the foundation of a healthy family. Morrie's two sons grew affectionate and learned from him to express their emotions openly. Mitch thought of his brother. They grew up together, but visits and attempts to maintain contact through calls weren't successful after he moved to Europe. When Mitch learned his brother had pancreatic cancer, he blamed himself, exactly like Morrie did years ago with David. On the sixth Tuesday, Mitch met Charlotte, Morrie's wife, who told him that her husband couldn't eat anymore. He felt like a fool standing with the bags full of food. The table was cluttered with pill bottles, and Morrie's symptoms were becoming gradually worse. Mitch looked noticeably upset, so Morrie offered an easy detachment technique. Let the emotion inside. Recognize it, experience it fully, and detach. If you hold back emotions, they often transform into anxiety and despair. Let the tears fall. Hug your partner, and don't let fear overwhelm you. Feel the pain, then step away and learn from it. On the seventh Tuesday, Morrie told Mitch to embrace aging. Youth often lacks wisdom and is susceptible to manipulation, and the desire to be young again arises from unfulfilled lives. Of course, he envied younger people sometimes, but let go of that emotion as he had taught before. Being 78, Morrie had part of him in every age up to his own, taking like a child and giving like an adult. Mitch felt physically stronger sitting beside him, but not superior in any way. Key point 5. Choose family over career. Money was the topic of the 8th Tuesday. As Morrie neared the end of his life, material possessions had little importance, and he lamented the culture of consumerism in a country where wealth mimics happiness. In Morrie's study, Mitch noticed that he hadn't acquired anything new in years aside from necessary medical equipment. The day he learned of his terminal illness, he lost interest in buying more. However, his home had transformed into a spring of trust, communication, and companionship. Morrie encouraged giving to others as a path to fulfillment and respect. Whether teaching a skill or contributing to the community, he believed that creating meaningful connections could bring hope. Valuing time and warm memories more than materialistic objects is the key to true happiness. On the 9th Tuesday, Morrie told his student that he had chosen the words for his tombstone, "A teacher to the last." He wasn't afraid of being forgotten after death because he excelled in focusing entirely on the present and sharing love. On the 10th Tuesday, Mitch brought his wife, Janine, to meet Morrie. While she was singing for them, he was thinking about their marriage. Long ago, he had an ambition of becoming a musician, but found his dream come true in Janine, a professional singer. He wanted to be a better person, fueled by the inspiration she radiated. Morrie expressed sympathy for younger generations, stating that finding a soulmate in a culture that often falls short in that regard is crucial. Many people either rush into marriage and quickly divorce, or are too self-centered to even think about meaningful relationships. The most important thing in life is to learn how to give out love and to let it come in. Morrie Schwartz. Morrie emphasized the significance of having a loved one, especially during challenging times. He had been married to Charlotte for 44 years and held absolute trust in her. Once again, Mitch wanted to be like his teacher. Key Point 6. Farewell Lessons. The topic of the 11th Tuesday was culture. Morrie explained that people become unkind when scared, and toxic productivity obsession only makes things worse. Souls are lost in a self-centered pursuit of wealth because they've learned money buys happiness. In fact, they need to choose values and beliefs independently. The supposed embarrassments of life are societal constructs. Every society has issues, but escaping isn't the answer. Therefore, you should create a culture where you can be proud of yourself. Dying reveals that all humans share the same concerns, even if they look drastically different. So, embracing others is the key to self-acceptance. A few days later, Morrie had his final interview with British-American journalist Ted Koppel. Within 6 months after their first meeting, Morrie's physical condition had deteriorated significantly. Broadcasted to the audience as a chronicle of coming death, still, his spirit shone brighter than ever. On the 12th Tuesday, Mitch and Morrie reflected on all their regrets about the past and agreed that only forgiveness brings the mind to absolute peace. The teacher also shared his plans for the burial and asked to visit him on Tuesdays, even in the afterlife. On the 13th Tuesday, Morrie promised that Mitch would find his way back to his brother. Those words deeply touched the younger man as he saw his mentor smiling through tears. Later, Mitch finally reached out to his brother in Spain to express his love, and they began exchanging fax letters. As always, Morrie was right about everything. It's never too late to mend a broken relationship. On the 14th Tuesday, they had their last lesson. Mitch knew Morrie wasn't doing well. He found him in the bedroom, lying under the blanket. With a forced smile, he greeted his teacher and they cried together, holding hands. Morrie passed away on Saturday, November the 4th. He was in bed, surrounded by books, notes, and a small hibiscus plant. Despite the numerous people who wanted to attend the funeral, Charlotte kept the gathering small, with only close friends and relatives. As Morrie's ashes found their final place in the ground, Mitch tried to talk to his teacher again and found that the imagined dialogue felt real. It was Tuesday. Conclusion. Mitch Albom's touching record of reconnection with his ailing college professor, Morrie Schwartz, offers a timeless lesson. Everyone needs a teacher. One who would see you as a precious soul whose potential could shine to brilliance with wisdom. If you've been fortunate enough to meet such people, You'll always find your way back, whether in your thoughts or by their bedside. Embrace this experience because one day you'll pass on your knowledge to the next generation, continuing the teaching cycle. Try this. Embrace your emotions and vulnerabilities as essential aspects of humanity. Treasure simple pleasures and don't postpone happiness. Ask for help, and you'll notice how people are genuinely glad to give it. Avoid comparing yourself to others. Seek motivation, not competition. And accept mortality to find peace in the present.